All right. Good Monday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. I am your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson. Let's go ahead and talk about the weather for your Monday evening going into your future. We have some stuff that we are going to talk about tonight. When I say have some stuff, we have a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. I will say there will be one less thing that we talk about tonight, and that is, if you probably can guess it, that is indeed the tropics, as it is December the 1st. Yes, it is indeed December the 1st. So that means hurricane season is done. So no longer talking about the tropics anymore. We are done with that. That's the first thing. The second thing is, before we get into what we're going to talk about today, if you have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. 9 people have tuned in so far and only 4 likes, so make sure you go and hit the like button. Also, hit the subscribe button if you are new and you have never hit it before. We're at 626. We are 74 subscribers away from that main goal of 700. That, and then also, if you have not hit the share button yet, share it with all the people that you know, share it with your friends, family, acquaintances, somebody that you met while you were on your morning jog this morning, just anything. Just go on and share it with somebody so they can go on and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button as well. So what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, obviously, we will talk about what's currently going on right now throughout the state of South Carolina. We also will talk about what's going to happen tonight and everything that's going to happen in terms of our short-term future and our long-term future. We also will talk about what's going on in terms of our December forecast and our winter of 2025 forecast. That, and then we also will talk about just everything else that has to go through for this month going into, obviously, like I said, winter, going into temperatures, going into patterns, cold fronts, all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a big night tonight. Big night tonight. So let's just go on and get started. The intro is already around like 2 minutes long, so we're just going to go on and just get started and not waste any more time. Starting off, what is going on throughout the entire state of South Carolina right now? Right now, not much. You may have some rainfall up here inside the very far upstate near like Seneca, South Carolina. Also over here near Walhalla and Central. Also over here near Pickens and just to the north of Travelers Rest and Dawkinsville and Easley, South Carolina. Rainfall going on up there. And then rainfall potentially going on near Jackson, South Carolina. But other than that, that's about all in terms of our state. Now, if we go on and look at what's going on throughout the entire U.S., rainfall going on all throughout the South. You have it all the way from Texas to Louisiana to Georgia to Alabama to Mississippi to Kentucky to Tennessee, and all of this will move its way over into South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia very, very soon. They will move it over here very, very soon. And when I say soon, I mean literally in about like 3 to 6 hours. So not too long left until all this rainfall moves through. Going to be a rainy night. We'll talk about that when we get into the models. But snowfall going on inside of Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, other parts of Kentucky, Ohio, Michigan as well, getting in on some of that snowfall, and even western Pennsylvania, up here in Washington State, Idaho, getting in on some of that snowfall. Rainfall also going on in Oregon, Washington State. And so that's it in terms of what's currently going on throughout the entire U.S. Now, what's going on in terms of cloud cover? Cloud cover right now, honestly, it's really heavy right now. Going throughout the entire state, it's pretty heavy. Yes, we do have some clear spots here and there, but for the most part, cloudy. Cloud cover for the future, not too much to really say here, except for it's going to stay cloudy pretty much for like the next 20 hours or so. But then as we continue our way through, even into tomorrow evening, we start to see some clearing really start to take shape, even as you go further into the future. This goes right here into, I believe this is Wednesday morning. Right here, cloud cover still going on in a good amount of the state, from the low country to the Midlands to the Grand Strand areas. But for the most part, clear conditions stay here as we get into, or start to come back as we get into like that Wednesday morning here for the upstate. And it will, again, start to clear up a little bit more as we get into Wednesday, going into Wednesday night. But that cloud cover will come back eventually as we go into like that Wednesday night area. So for the most part, it looks like that cloud cover is going to take a little bit of a break, but it's not going to be gone for long. Now, what about our current temperatures? Current temperatures right now, 48 in Columbia as well as 48 in Orangeburg, 51 in Somerville, and even 53 in Charleston, 51 in Georgetown, even 52 in Melrose Inlet, 50 in Myrtle Beach, and 47 in Conway, 49 in North Myrtle Beach, and 46 in Florence, 47 in Lugoff, and even around 46 in Newbury. We also have around 46 in Greenwood, 53 in Beaufort. And as we move up here towards the upstate, 44 in Lancaster, 43 in York and Rock Hill, Gaffney, and Spartanburg, Greenville also included, all 43, 44 in Anderson, and 46 in, over there, or actually, excuse me, 44 over there near Clemson. Now, for low temperatures for tonight, you have around 39 in Anderson, 37 in Greenville, and even 37 in Spartanburg, 38 in Lawrence, and 36 in Newbury, 39 inside of Columbia, and 37 in Winsboro, 39 also inside of Camden, 40 in Florence, 41 Sumter, and 42 in Orangeburg and Barnwell, 45 Walterboro, and 51 in Charleston, 54 in Hilton Head Island, and 45 in Moncks Corner, 48 in Georgetown, as well as 49 in Myrtle Beach, 42 in Kingstree, 40 Florence, and 41 in Dillon. High temperatures for tomorrow will be around 55 in Greenville, 56 in Anderson, and 53 inside of Spartanburg. We also do have around 54 in Columbia, 51 in Rock Hill, and 49 in Cheraw and Dillon, 50 Florence, 52 inside of Kingstree, and even 58 in Moncks Corner, 64 inside of Charleston, and 60 in Walterboro and Myrtle Beach, 63 Georgetown. Now, if we go into our rainfall for tonight, this is probably going to be one of the main things we're going to talk about tonight. That's going to be that rainfall. Half an inch to an inch of rainfall is forecasted for Myrtle Beach, for Georgetown, for Moncks Corner, to Charleston, to Walterboro, and to Hilton Head Island. Now, what's the time frame? This goes from tonight all the way into tomorrow night at 7 o'clock p.m. In terms of other areas, an inch to an inch and a half for areas like Kingstree, for Florence, for Sumter, and even Columbia, Winsboro, Campton, Cheraw, Rock Hill, Spartanburg, Greenville, and even Anderson. All these areas, inch to an inch and a half, and then possibly even an inch to 2 inches, possibly in Greenwood, Aiken, Barnwell, and Orangeburg. That's for, or Orangeburg's actually still in that inch to an inch and a half, but an inch and a half to 2, Greenwood, Aiken, and Barnwell, that's for rainfall amounts as we go into tomorrow. So now, what about the crazy score? If you have no idea what the crazy score is, it is actually a score to where we see how crazy the weather is inside of South Carolina. And right now, we're at a 36. Why are we at a 36? Well, because it looks like, for the most part, that obviously with all this rainfall occurring, that obviously that probability of precipitation rises all the way to around 90 to 100%. And it's going to, obviously start off dry like it is now, then widespread moderate rain spreads west to east after around 12 to 2 o'clock in the morning. And it's going to be potentially heavy at times as we get overnight. No flood risk, though. You may think, okay, well, there has to be at least a little bit of a flood risk. No, there's actually no flood risk with this system. There is one coming up, though, in about a couple of days or so. So we will talk about that. But for the most part, it looks like that right now we're just going to stay in this kind of just like no flood zone for right now. And obviously cloudy conditions. So that's all why we're inside of this moderate category. SPC outlook for tonight, if showers do get going, there is a potential for thunderstorms to potentially get going over here inside of the low country, inside of the PD, also inside of the Grand Strand as well. If it was to occur, though, even if you go into tomorrow, it expands. Thunderstorm activity possible from the Midlands over towards the low country to the PD to the Grand Strand. And then day 3, Wednesday, we get out of it. So right now, not really too much of anything as we get there. But thunderstorms definitely are possible tomorrow with all this rainfall that's going to try and come through. And I was just talking about excessive rainfall. I said no excessive rainfall chance was expected as we get into tonight, tomorrow. But on day 5, which day 5 is on Friday, isolated flash flooding is possible down here for the southern tip of South Carolina from Hardeeville to Bluffton to Hilton Head Island. All these areas down here, isolated flash flooding, at least a 5% chance of flash flooding is possible. So let's go in and talk about the models, and we have a lot of models to go over, so let's go in and get through them, starting off with the short term first. Short term first, we're going to start off here at 9 o'clock p.m. Rainfall obviously going on in the upstate, that's expected. But as we get into 12 o'clock in the morning, look how much that rainfall expands as it goes from west to east, over inside of the upstate, over even inside the western low country, and then even inside the Midlands. That will continue its way through, and by 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning, we have rainfall pretty much covering the entire state. Yes, there will be some clear spots, but there will probably be a time where there probably won't really be too much. 4 o'clock in the morning here, rainfall from moderate to heavy at times, going throughout this huge band right here, going through all the way into around 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 a.m. But one thing I want you to pay attention to, you go right here to the total precipitation amount. You see that half an inch to an inch, and that lesser rainfall amounts go throughout the low country. It goes throughout the Grand Strand areas. That's not a mistake. Look at the models here. Shows it perfectly. Shows like a bit of a opening of dry conditions going on inside of the low country, the Tri-County areas, going inside of the Grand Strand area. So a little bit of a gap may hold up. Now, upstate Midlands looks like that they will still get the brunt of the rainfall, but there definitely will be some dry patches, especially in the low country and the PD. Well, probably not the PD, probably like the more Grand Strandish area. And this is 7 a.m. going all the way to 8 a.m., 9 a.m., and then rainfall really starts to take back over. But you can see how it starts to kind of leave the upstate, 9 a.m. here. And then that's when it starts to move its way to the east and starts impacting some of these other areas that weren't really getting impacted too much from that like 5 to around 7 a.m. area. Then we get to 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Rainfall moving its way through all the way to 4 p.m. And then we'll be nice and dry all the way by around like 5 to 6 p.m. Nice and dry. And we're not seeing anything else in terms of rainfall as we go into December the 3rd at 7 o'clock p.m. So that's all I have to say in terms of the short-term future. What about the long-term future? Let me go on and get that right now here at the 54-hour mark. You go on and push this forward. We stay for the most part dry. Rainfall will be coming through on the 5th. You see the 6th here, so potentially another similar event to what we just had, or what we're about to have tomorrow, could potentially happen again as we go into the 5th and the 6th. And so that system moves up out of here. It brings some cold air behind it. And the one that we're about to receive as well will also bring cold air with it as well. Cold front will pass by. It was a bit breezy earlier. So, kind of added a bit to, not much in terms of like wind chills, but it definitely was dropping. It definitely felt like it was dropping the temperatures a little bit. Then as you go, like I said, to around the 5th and the 6th, you can see cold air coming through again. As we go and even into the 8th as well, as another like back end system tries to come through. Some more energy from the backside brings it through. Then as we get to around like the 9th and the 10th, it starts to again get dry, but some more rainfall again on the 12th. Right here going into, just like look at all this cold air that's coming in behind it, going into the 13th, bringing snow potentially to areas like in North Carolina, not in the South Carolina though. I bet if it was to bring some moisture, it may bring something. But right now, 288 hours out, too far out. And then we have another system coming through on the 16th. So these back-to-back systems that we are seeing is bringing cold air. It's bringing rainfall. In terms of flash flooding, it's not really bringing that huge threat of flash flooding. But one of these systems definitely possibly could have that attribute with it. And so I do want to go on and show you the dew points real quick, so you can go and see these dew points. These are not temperatures. This right here is just air. It's talking about how dry it is. Obviously, the lower the number is, the drier the air. The higher the number is, the more moist the air is. And so, look at these cold fronts right here. There goes one coming through, especially over here on the 8th. You can't really tell too much because the air is already super dry, so you can't really see the cold fronts too well, but you can really see that one on the 8th. You can see another one coming in on the 12th, and that one really drops our air to become really dry. And then you have another one coming through again on the 16th and the 17th. And it's just these back-to-back high wave cold fronts that I've been harping about for like the past week or two at this point. About how we're going to have this train of cold fronts to continue. Even if you go into the actual temperature anomalies as well. Remember, temperature anomalies, even if they're warmer than average, does not mean that it's hot. It just means that it is warmer than this time of year. You continue that all the way through the 5th, through the 6th. It becomes warmer. And then even as you go into December the 8th, you have this cold air coming through. Even as you go into the 9th, going into the 10th, and you have warm air here. Now, what is that warm air actually? That warm air here is actually only in the mid 60s. It will drop back down though, as we get some more cold air again on the 12th, going into the 13th, 14th, 15th. We get a huge amount of cold air coming in even behind that one on the 17th from that cold front. So cold fronts will be coming in like crazy, and so that's what's really going to cool us down just as we continue into the month of December. That's all that I have to say, though, in terms of the long-term future. So now that that is out of the way, let's go on and talk about the month of December first. So for the month of December, this right here should already be set up, which it is. We're going to start off here. This is for December. The month of December, starting off, we will, indeed, be above average for this month, for the month of December. Now, one other thing that we can look at as well, while I go and pull that up, you can go in and look at the risk of excessive rainfall on Friday. But if I go in and look at this right here all the way throughout the next month or so, this is for the month of December. Right here, you can see monthly temperature outlook. This is actually verified from the Climate Prediction Center. We have above average temperatures for this month. Now, it looks like for the most part, that we're going to have potentially, some more warmer than average near like the coastal areas. But that, I talked about that yesterday, about how the air down there could potentially be a little bit more moist, a little bit more on the warmer side, and the cold air potentially won't get down there as much as it would like in the upstate and the middle area. So that could be the reason why down there in the low country would be a little bit more on the warmer or more above average side. But that's just for December in terms of temperatures. What about precipitation? Precipitation, we will be above average for the month of December in terms of precipitation. So above average rainfall and above average temperatures, not the best chances, especially for when it comes to snow as well. If you have those above average temperatures, that won't be too well. So it's just like a cool rain at that point is what you may see during this time frame. Now, does that mean that snow is out of the question? Absolutely not. Weather can do anything. But for right now, it just looks like that we're going to have above average. Now, what about for the season of winter? Unfortunately, above average temperatures for December going into January and February. So it looks like that we will continue to see those above average temperatures as we get into December, January, and February. Now, what about even our precipitation as well, below average? So not as much precipitation as we would usually see for the winter of this season. So what does that mean? Obviously, just mean that's going to be below average. Like I said, does that mean that we're not going to see any snow? No, it just means that the chances are maybe a little bit more slimmer than what it might actually be. And so not the best sign if you wanted to see snow, but we're just going to have to continue to wait and see what happens there. And even if we go in and look at the other ones as well, this right here was for, let me go and get that. This one right here was actually for December from the actual CFS. They have a above average December as well in terms of temperatures. For precipitation, they have above average precipitation, but some below average areas, and then also some near normal areas in terms of precipitation. And then for the entire winter season, it shows above average temperatures, and then for rainfall, kind of a split. above average up there inside the upstate, below average in the coastal areas, and in the low country and the Grand Strand areas, and then normal near the middle. So we'll see what happens, though. We will see what happens. But that's about as far as in depth as I'm going to go with that, obviously. There's some people who go way more in depth with that, but I don't do that. Just because, just to cover a whole month and just a whole season span, really all we can really talk about is the averages. That's about all we can really say. And so that's all for the winter forecast. If you do have any questions about it, though, go on and leave it inside the chat and the audience. And speaking of the audience, it's about that time. So let's go on and see what the audience has to say for tonight. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what they have to say. My Aunt Lula here first tonight. She says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Miss Tolliver says, good evening. Cool and cloudy day at my house. The geese were not getting along in the pond. Everything else went okay. Well, that's fantastic to hear that everything else at least went okay. And obviously, I know you said the other day that the pond was looking kind of low. Rainfall definitely is on the way. My Aunt Lula comes back and says, I pray that everyone had a blessed Thanksgiving. Well, I did. Thank you so much for that. Miss Oliver says, will the rain have stopped by tomorrow evening by 4 to 7 p.m.? Well, like I said, probably around like 4 or 5 p.m.-ish is where it's most likely going to try and stop. So it's going to be around like that time frame. Now, what exact time, obviously, I don't know that. But between 4 and 7 p.m., yeah, it probably would have stopped by that time frame. At least that's what's looking more likely right now. Now for next, we have Mr. Chris, who says, good evening, everyone. Hope you all had a great day. I did. Thank you so much for asking. My Aunt Lewis says, it's so good to be back in Georgetown. Ms. Dauber says, I sure hope that the rain doesn't freeze on the road tomorrow evening. No, it's not going to get that cold. Not going to get that cold. Mr. Chris says, please remember to go on and hit the like button and the subscribe button if you haven't. Also share with everyone that you know. He's absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Right now we have 24 people that have tuned in and only 7 likes. If you are a part of that 17 that have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. It's free, and you can change your mind at any time. Let's see, what else do we have? Trail says, greetings, everyone. Greeting to you. Mr. Chris says, just check my temperature here in Monk's Corner. And it's around 49 right now. At my house, it's 51. That's what my older one says. My newer weather station says it is also 51. So, right now, they're about neck and neck right now. About neck and neck. My Aunt Lewis says, I enjoyed the 80-degree weather here, or 80-degree weather in Orlando. Definitely sounds better than 50 right now, at least to me. Dad says, good evening, Joseph. I trust all is well. All is well. It was a bit chilly here today. I had to break out a jacket. Hopefully, we'll begin to warm back up. I'm not a cold weather guy. I'm not either. I do agree with you on that. And that's all that we have in terms of the chat for tonight. So that is all here. So let's go on. If you want to go on and leave something inside the chat, you still can. I'll come back and read it later if you have not put one inside the chat already. But let's go on and talk about the 4 locations outside of South Carolina. You might be asking 4 locations. What are you talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly. And so we will go on and talk about their areas because even though their location is not being talked about as much as South Carolina, they still show their support either way. So let's go on and talk about San Antonio first. The first area that we talk about with low temperatures tonight at 39. High temperatures tomorrow at 60. And then low temperatures tomorrow night at 44. So it's going to be, again, like you said, chilly. In terms of precipitation, excessive rainfall, severe weather, stuff like that, not expected. Then for Raleigh, North Carolina, you have low temperatures tonight at 37, high temperatures tomorrow at 47, and low temperatures tonight at 28. Rainfall right now is not occurring, but it will occur later. Tonight, rainfall is expected. Same thing for tomorrow during the day. But tomorrow night, things start to trend upward as it's going to become dry, and there's going to be no severe weather, no excessive rainfall, anything like that. Then for Philadelphia, low temperatures tonight at 30, high temperatures tomorrow at 40, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 28. Only a 10-degree difference from tonight and tomorrow, as it's just going to be a cold day tomorrow. Chance of rainfall tonight, rain is expected tomorrow, and no precipitation is expected tomorrow night. And then for Duncan, Oklahoma, as there is no severe weather and excessive rainfall for Philadelphia. For Duncan, Oklahoma, low temperatures tonight at 22, high temperatures tomorrow at 52, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 34, as there is indeed no precipitation, no severe weather, no excessive rainfall, anything like that. And that is all that I have in terms of these 4 areas. So what's going on throughout the entire U.S. weather news-wise? Well, right now, a storm system stretching all the way from the Tennessee Valley to the Gulf Coast will bring a variety of hazards to the eastern U.S. through Tuesday. On the south side, heavy rainfall, thunderstorms, all of that will persist, even some excessive rainfall to some areas, and even, potentially, some severe weather to some areas, especially near the Gulf Coast and in northern Florida. Further north, a wintry precipitation mix is expected all the way from the central Appalachians to the interior northeast through Tuesday. Yes, it will go all the way from North Carolina to Arkansas and Missouri, over inside of Tennessee, Kentucky, all throughout these areas, Illinois, up inside of New York, where they actually have winter storm warnings up there in New York, inside of parts of the Northeast. And then freezing will occur not only parts of Texas, but also inside of the southwestern U.S. Snowfall will also continue to go on in the northern Rockies and also inside the southern Rockies as well. And that's all that I have to say here in terms of the long term for the entire U.S. So that's about it. So if you have not hit the like button, go on and do so. Again, 27 people have tuned in and only 8 likes. If you are a part of that 19 that have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. Also hit the subscribe button. We're at 627, trying to get to 700. We are right now 73 subscribers away from that main goal of 700 subscribers. Also hit the share button, share with all the people that you know. Top fan of the night tonight. I'm not gonna lie, there was a lot of comments tonight. But I believe that was Mr. Chris first. And then it was my Aunt Lula, who's number 2, and then Miss Tolliver was number 3. So congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans of the night tonight. If you want to be a part of the top fans, you can. You just have to be here early. You have to be active inside the chat, and then you also have to be a subscriber so you can actually type. That's it there. And so, again, that's about all. Make sure, like I said, you tune back in tomorrow night for our Tuesday evening forecast update at 9 o'clock p.m. Also tomorrow morning for our morning forecast update tomorrow morning, as that will be going up at its regular time around 8, 9 o'clock-ish. And that's about all. So everyone have a fantastic rest of your Monday, and I will be back tomorrow morning for your Tuesday morning forecast update.